Hi, I'm Ben,
And I'm Lucas.
and we are two aspiring filmmakers making unnecessary commentary on famous movies.
Each week, we will randomly select a film to analyze, discuss, and review.
We will select the film at the end of each podcast, so you will have ample time to watch the movie before the next episode.
We are slightly qualified film students.
Okay.
Hello.
Welcome back to
Welcome
Slightly
back.
Qualified Students. Our 26th movie.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Mystic
our first crime thriller-esque film. Actually, no, we did Nocturnal
Our
Animals.
our
first mystery film.
though.
Yeah,
Because in Nocturnal Animals, you know who did it the whole time.
that's true.
But, I mean, this is like a classic, who done it
Yeah.
type of film.
Yes.
And yeah, my first time seeing it. This is a first for a lot of things, I guess. Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood,
Sean
Sean Penn.
I don't even know if we have any others on the list, but it's always nice to
Yeah, we
get a
got.
quick appearance from the cowboy himself.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. Yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen this film for a long time, like 4 years. And it's I like a good mystery if it's well thought out, and I think this is one that is well crafted. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I'm interested your perspective on what you were thinking while watching the film, who did it. Cuz for me,
I mean,
it misdirected me quite a bit. I wasn't expecting anything.
Well, I think that here's I guess one of my central issues. I'll get it out of the way right now. Is that it misdirected me, but not in a good way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I had my suspicion. First of all, I was pretty much never convinced that it was Doyle or Dave. I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
sure.
that would be too obvious.
It's
Not
too
gonna make
obvious.
it Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but what I was really thinking is it's gonna be Brendan.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna
Yeah, totally.
kill his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And then they make it his brother, and it's just
Mhm.
it feels less awesome when the killer is revealed to be someone we've basically never
No.
even
See, I don't mind
looked
that because
into.
I would rather you let it be someone that I wasn't even thinking about. And then when you think when I was rewatching the film this time and I knew who the killers were, I was noticing stuff and I was like, "Oh, there's a lot of hints that are being dropped." But you're being misdirected so much by Dave and Brendan that you're not seeing those. That you're not even noticing them. But
I think it definitely misdirected me good, because even in that scene, I'm not gonna lie to you, this film lost me right from the start with the child acting. I was already like, oh boy. And so I guess I was still even confused when Brendan is interrogating his own brother, because I guess I didn't even realize that it was his brother at that point. I literally realized it was his brother when they actually arrested him, because I still thought it was Brendan, and I was like, oh, it is Brendan. But then the gun was missing, and I was just confused, man. I didn't know what was happening.
oh my god. This man clearly stopped paying attention somewhere.
I mean, after the third location that was just pitch black and seeing half of a gritty man's face, I don't know, man. This film was kind of all over the place, and it lost me a little bit. I wasn't that into this.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, this is like a modern neo-noir type film. Yeah. I mean, I actually enjoy this film. I find it entertaining. I was watching it again. It's just one of those films that I feel kind of disturbed when watching it. There's something just that feels wrong about this movie. It's just it's kind of gross. It's kind of it's not like Shame or other crime thriller films, but it's not making me scared or any suspense or that gut feeling of terror. It's more just ugh, this is depressing. This is awful.
Yeah, it's
And-
really it paints both Dave and Jimmy you feel bad for them in different ways, but at the same time you also kind of hate them for different reasons. Although I guess that's mostly Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy's an interesting character because you have to feel for him. His 19-year-old daughter just got killed, but also he's a bad guy, and
Yeah.
he's kind of quick to do things. You know, he doesn't
Yeah,
really
it's true.
think. And I think that one of the real like shining moments here. I guess we can do standout scenes right now.
Yeah.
And I'll just talk
Or
about
do
it
the
there.
plot summary first. We should maybe do
Oh
that.
yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about this plot summary is kind of not really that awesome, but okay. After the death of Jimmy's daughter, Katie, Sean, a police officer, investigates her murder, which leads him to a crime that took place 25 years ago. So now, when I had read this plot summary, I was assuming that it was kind of going to be the opposite of what this film actually is, where it starts with the present day and then it, like, you know, takes a time travel back to 25 years ago, because that's kind of what it sounded like. But the crime 25 years ago is really not. I mean, it's important, but it's not like the central aspect of this film.
Right.
So I guess that plot summary kind of misled me a bit, because the crime 25 years ago, it is important, but it's I guess it's made to seem like the central theme in that plot summary.
Right.
I don't know. If you haven't seen this film, you should watch it before we, discuss the plot.
Yeah.
Which we already kind of did.
Lot of spoilers ahead. Yeah, we already kind of spoiled the whole movie for you, but
Well, I mean, we didn't actually explicitly say who did it.
we did. We said it was Brendan's brother.
Okay. We said it was his brother. I thought we were just kind of talking about vaguely. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
It was Brendan's brother.
Brendan's
Silent
brother
Ray,
and his buddy.
random friend that we haven't seen for the whole film up until he cringily says he wants to kill Brendan.
Yeah, that's true.
Child acting in this film. There's a decent amount of it.
Yeah, there's not
I'm
that
not
much.
gonna lie, there's not that much.
It's
but
like
more
the
than
first
films
3
have been
minutes,
doing.
dude. It's like the first 3 minutes. What other child?
First 3 minutes.
There's no other kids in
And
this
then
movie.
that other one scene where Silent Ray's friend has the gun.
Yeah.
He delivers some cringy lines. I don't really care about the child acting is very small in this film. It's not that bad.
That's true. That's true.
Standout scenes. I think that really there's, to me, one kind of shining moment that was actually just a overall really well kind of edited together and put together and written scene, which is the climax. It's pretty obvious. Jimmy interrogating Dave and killing him on the banks of the Mystic River, which is also, intercut with Sean discovering the real killer, Silent Ray. That whole sequence is edited pretty well so that you're everything kind of clicks right then if you were paying attention. I kind of looked back like 2 minutes later and was like, oh. But even if I didn't have the instant realization, it's still just a really well edited scene, really well acted. I mean, Sean Penn and Tim Robbins definitely deserved their Oscars here. And yeah, I mean, that sequence it's well shot. I like the dramatic lighting, and well edited, well performed, well written. It's just, to me, the best by far moment of the film.
Yeah, I have that written down too. It's a very intense sequence, and they're also not just cutting between, Kevin Bacon figuring out who the killer is and Sean Penn killing Tim Robbins, but they're also cutting between us realizing that Tim Robbins killed that pedophile. They're cutting flashbacks of Tim Robbins as a kid getting kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and whatnot. And then we're also having intercutting with Brendan interrogating his brother. So there's like 5 different things that we're cutting between in one scene.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of just shows that Clint Eastwood is a legit director. Not that he hadn't already proven it, but like, if there were any doubts, it shows that he does in fact know how to direct a film pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive for like actor director combos. We don't see a lot of that working out too well. But Clint Eastwood has definitely proven himself to be a solid director. I mean, his films have won.
I mean, he's won Best Picture with Million Dollar Baby also.
He's won Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
And that was pretty much
Yeah,
right
right
after
after.
this.
yeah. Okay, my standout scene, because you said that one, I actually really like the sequence in which we first find out that Jimmy's daughter has been murdered or is missing. And I like the
Right.
I like the sequence from the actual church scene where Sean Penn's there with his daughter, his daughter's communion, and all the way up to obviously him trying to break through the police barrier and figure out what happened to his daughter. And it's the buildup of his performance in that scene. It's the first part of him being in the church and hearing sirens in the background and him knowing that he doesn't know where his daughter is in that moment. She's kind of missing to him. She kind of disappeared, and he's worried, but he's trying to like support his younger daughter who's at her communion, but he's hearing these sirens, and you can just see terror in his face. And then he comes out of the church and you see all the cop cars driving by, and he's terrified. And then eventually he goes down there, he sees her car, and it's just this whole build-up while intercutting with Kevin Bacon kind of trying to find the body. And I think that whole like 5-minute, 10-minute sequence it's really well edited, and Sean Penn's performance is spectacular. And yeah, it's when that scene kind of ends, it's a big emotional punch.
Yeah, for sure. That sequence is really good. It is a very nice build up, the suspense, I guess. And when it finally like is, I guess, released and Sean Penn is just screaming to the sky surrounded by police, that's boom, that's why he won Best Actor right there, you know. The very emotional, raw performance. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge Sean Penn guy, but you gotta respect him on this one.
Have you seen any other Sean Penn movies?
Yeah, I've seen him in Into the Wild.
Sure. He directed Into the Wild.
Yeah, and I've seen. No, I haven't seen Milk, but I need to see
Milk is
the
one of my favorite performances of all time, and I mean, it really shows his range, being like this like big buff like gangster kind of dad, in Mystic River, and then playing like the first homosexual mayor of the United States and playing this very flamboyant homosexual character in Milk. It's like his range is impeccable, and that's why he won the Oscar for Milk also.
Right.
But I mean, you know, he's an actor. He's a good actor.
Yeah, and I have to say the double that they got for him, like his kid actor double, looks exactly like what I would imagine a young Sean Penn to look like. So the casting
actually for all the kids, I was like, they nailed the faces.
They look
might have not nailed the acting.
They nailed the faces. Yeah,
but the faces.
They might have prioritized him looking like.
Which is
Sean
okay.
Penn
It's okay. They're only in it for like 3 minutes. They don't have. It's okay.
It's not a bad trade-off. It's not a bad trade-off.
Okay. Let me grab. We got a couple audience questions.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, this is a more popular film for sure. I mean, when you have a name like Clint Eastwood attached to a film and an Oscar nomination, I mean, this film kind of was huge. So I assume, you know, a good number of our audiences see it.
Yeah.
Although it didn't have the biggest budget. I mean, only $30 million.
Yeah.
It wasn't the biggest production, but I mean, they didn't really have to.
Yeah, they didn't have a.
You know,
but I mean, it used its money pretty solidly.
Yeah, it's mostly on the cast and. Yeah.
Okay, question number 1. Have you seen any other movies directed by Clint Eastwood? If yes, which ones? And if no, which ones do you want to see?
Well, I have not seen $1 Million Baby, and I know I should, obviously, because it won Best Picture, and I've heard mixed reviews. I don't know. Have you
No,
have you
I
seen
haven't.
it?
That's also same as me. It's
I have
I
seen.
want to get to it.
I have seen. Yeah, no. It looks. I don't know. I'm not a huge sports movie guy.
I like me a good
We
sports movie.
Raging Bull is the boxing film to me, and Rocky. So I guess, I've watched a decent amount of boxing films this year. Actually, I also watched a Russell Crowe one.
I
Uh,
like some good boxing
in
movies, you know.
and he certainly branched out from his lane of westerns. So I think he's a good director. I think he's a great actor. He's an iconic
He
figure in
is.
like
He is.
the
I mean, I'm
film
not a huge
business.
fan of Western films in general, but huge respect to the guy.
Hmm.
And yeah. Okay, next question we got. Eastwood describes acting and directing as interpretive functions, activities at a somewhat lower rung on his creative scale than when he is writing a script. Do you agree or disagree?
I think that yes, writing is a more creative outlet, definitely than directing. I would say because directing you have to worry about a lot of technical aspects as
Mm-hmm.
well as how you creatively want to direct the film. And writing is just purely. I mean, you could sit down and write a script about something that you technically could have no way done. Like you could set a thriller set in space in the future and just let your creative juices flow,
Yeah.
and write a great
Yeah.
script. Could you direct it? No, but when you're writing a script without technical limitations in mind, I think that creativity is just endless. And obviously, acting and directing have the limitations of the real world. So I guess I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think directing you do have the creativity of like camera and stuff, but
Oh yeah,
honestly
directing
a
is
lot of it
creative
is
for
coming
sure.
from cinematography too. It depends on like how what your director is actually like doing. Like if it's more of an actor director, then probably the creativity level is pretty low, but if he's more like in with the camera, doing shot designs and all that stuff, then the creativity comes out a bit. With acting, I mean, acting
Yeah.
isn't that creative, in my opinion. I mean, you have to be somewhat creative in like interpreting your role, but most of it is coming from the writer and director, and you're kind of just doing the performance, and you don't actually have a lot
Hmm.
of say usually when it comes to unless you're acting in your own film or you're the director and you're acting or something like that. Usually,
Yeah. Hmm.
not a lot of creativity. So I would agree with Clint Eastwood here. I think that quote makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well,
Yeah.
let's take a quick break and then just hop into the actual review. Okay,
All
we're
right. We are
back.
back.
Hopping in to
Hopping in.
the actual review here. Story and
Yep.
originality out of 10. Now, I actually really like this story. I think it's a really creative story when it comes to the mystery genre. I like this idea of it kind of all connecting between three childhood friends, especially this idea of it being this detective and father dynamic between two people who are actually were close friends. And I like that
Yeah.
dynamic between Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn. And honestly, I think the mystery element of this film is well thought out. Even though, like you said, you're not a huge mystery fan, I still think it keeps you, at least it kept me engaged. And I'm still like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun to watch, even on a second time. I was like having some
Yeah.
fun with it.
I mean, I think for me, mystery. When I think of what like mystery films I like the most, I think of something like Prisoners.
Yeah,
Something like that's
sure.
more of a thriller than
Yeah.
a downright mystery. But what I will say, I think in terms of story and originality, this film is it's pretty original. I mean, the aspect that this is a murder mystery where all the suspects and pretty much everybody involved is all interconnected through these three families, right?
Right.
Um, I mean, pretty much everything about this murder, except Lawrence Fishburne, is coming from these three families that are also sprouting from the three childhood friends, which I think
Mhm.
it's a great concept. It's super original,
Yeah.
in terms of mystery. Uh, and I mean, I think that the payoff the way they find out, it's almost kind of seems a bit like by chance, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I guess I was a bit confused, but
I do like
I
the
think
setup
that,
though, because at the start of the film you hear the 911 call, and it
yeah,
kind of just seems like something that's there, but then that's how they actually figure it out at
yeah,
the end. So it's that link, and I actually kind of like that.
hmm
And upon second
yeah.
rewatch, like catching that stuff, I was like, yeah, they're
I mean, I
they're throwing the
definitely
hints
thought
there.
that I when I heard the 911 call, I was definitely suspicious. I was like, okay, that's a really weird way to call 911.
Yeah,
Uh, except I I guess I didn't like look too much into it because I mean it's a good choice to have the mute kid not actually be mute, but I mean that just seems like unfair. It's like how am I supposed to
he is. He
if
is
I
mute.
can't match that if I know it what? But he's talking on the phone.
No, that's
Isn't
his friend talking on the phone.
Oh, I thought because Brendan is saying
Yeah, but that
he's
he just thought because he didn't put two and two together at that point.
well, neither did I clearly. I don't know. I still like the story though. I thought it was one of the strongest parts, just the sheer concept of it all. Uh,
Yeah.
which also, is part of the reason why I think the performances are so good is because you can feel these
Hmm.
like bonds between all these three people just break down because of this
Yeah.
horrible event. So,
And
yeah.
even though the opening, which I'll get into more with beginning, even though the children aren't the best actors, I really like how it sets up all of the nostalgia hits towards the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like The Place Beyond the Pines, where you get a lot of same shots, same imagery, same standing positions, the cement, all of that stuff. And it's all set up in this like first 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really
And I like that the
just
film
original.
ends with them all on the street that it starts on.
I actually think it's quite original. I mean, the only thing is it's based off a book, so I'm not going to give it full marks by any means. But
Yeah.
I think it's worthy of that 9 out of 10. It's a low 9 for me, but it's worthy of the 9 out
Yeah.
of 10.
I gave an 8%. I was confused, but, I think that it's definitely a step above a lot of mystery films. And I like the bond that the characters have. Yeah, I like the story a lot.
Okay, let's move into beginning out of 5. I already kind of talked about this, but even though, let's just put the child actors aside for a bit.
Yeah, okay, I'm down.
I think that the actual way this movie starts and how it opens and how it gets to the point really quickly, and it's like actually an entertaining beginning. Like it's intense. It's, in my opinion, one of the more intense scenes in the entire film. Like the
Yeah,
actual sequence of this like so-called cop getting pissed at them, getting the guy in the car, and then the parents freaking out. Like that whole stuff. To open a film like that, it's pretty ambitious, and you don't even have a lot of time to like settle into these characters. It's like right away we're thrown into kind of this chaos, which I think is kind of the best way to open a film.
Yeah,
They then go into setup when the characters are older, but I like that they set aside like these first 8 minutes to just like be kind of like heart pounding, suspenseful intensity.
yeah. And I do agree with that. I'll also leave the child acting aside. I I like that they start with the street hockey. It feels very close to home.
You know, I was thinking
Uh,
it's funny last time we were talking about it, and you're like, "There's like no street hockey scenes in movies."
I know,
And then
I
watched
know,
this,
and
I was
then
like,
we
"Damn."
watch one. I thought that as soon as I saw the street hockey, I was like, "Oh, hey, look at that." But yeah, I think that it's okay. My other problem, other than the child actors, is the editing in this beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
When he gets when Dave gets kidnapped, I guess they went all out with this editing. It's so weird. It's like it's so weird. I don't know
They
what
went
is
like
happening.
80s horror movie editing.
Yeah,
Lots of like
like
fades to black, fades to like picture, and just like
it's like it's like a bad psychedelic experience or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It's just all over the place.
yeah.
No
Like-
rhythm.
It's Yeah, it's weird.
It's so weird.
It's very
so
weird. It's like
I was so
it's somewhat
scared
scary.
for the rest of the
Like
film.
I could see myself in the theaters watching that and being kind of like scared because it's like constantly cutting to black and it would be pitch black and it would kind of be scary. But like when I'm watching it in like a room with like all the
Yeah.
lights on and it's happening, I'm like, what the heck is happening on screen?
I
And
know.
I feel
I
like
was-
that's one of the scenes that like doesn't equate from theater to like TV.
Yeah, it's like the editor just took the spool of film, threw it in the air, and just like got scissors and started cutting at it.
Yeah.
And that's how they edited it. And I
But-
was super scared that the editing was gonna be like that for the rest
Yeah.
of the film. And they kind of saved it.
They
We'll talk
don't.
about that in
Yeah,
editing.
they don't edit like that
They
for
don't
the
do
rest
that
of the
again.
film.
They
Yeah.
don't do that again. And that's,
It's just for
thank
the
God.
beginning for some reason.
And yeah, the child actors also, I guess now, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean,
They're not the best.
the one who
They're not
played
the worst.
Sean,
Yeah,
the one who played
played
Sean was
good.
fine. The one, but Jimmy was not great. And I mean,
Jimmy
the
was
one,
pretty cringe.
the one who played Dave, he didn't say much, so it was okay. But you know, it was still
His
not
crying
great.
looked kind of
Yeah,
weird.
it was a little weird with him.
Just the way that the kids talked and interacted with the grown-ups felt so cliche. Like,
Well, yeah, it's
them
like
all saying yes sir, and then Jimmy is just like yes, and oh he didn't say sir, he's the bad boy. Like I don't know, man. It felt very cringy and just cliche. But I'm literally, I was okay. I was gonna give this a 2% because I really didn't see any upside to it. But then I was like, they played street hockey, so 3% from me.
okay, interesting.
I'll
No,
put it in the middle.
I actually like this beginning. I mean, it's entertaining. Like
On
that's
paper,
what I put
it's a
it.
good beginning, I think, but I don't think they executed it very well.
I think it's shot pretty nice. I like the shot designs of this scene, the framing, and I like the guy who plays the like pedophile or whoever he is. He gave
Yeah,
a good
he is pretty
performance. He's like really scary. Like I'm like scared of this guy. But yeah, I mean, the only thing for me was the editing. I'm like, I'm gonna talk about child acting and acting. I'm not gonna really talk about it in the ending. Beginning. So yeah, I don't know. I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's better than all these films I've been ranking average beginnings for, because I was like entertained. So that's a big part.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the ending, which is at a 5%. I like the way that this film ends. I think it's a solid ending. I don't think that there's anything too spectacular about the way this film ends compared to other mysteries. The payoff of getting to see the real killers is good. And also the fact that obviously Jimmy kills Dave mistakenly. Watching him kind of realize what he's done is a good scene. And the last parade scene is a nice one too. You got Sean pretending to like mimicking a gun at Jimmy, which kind of signifies that he's gonna come after him because he killed Dave. And Jimmy just shows like, oh, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
So you kind of get the feeling it's kind of ambiguous because you know that it's not necessarily over for them.
Mm-hmm.
But just this chapter is. And, it's nice that they tied it back to the very street in the beginning where everything went down, and it comes back in the ending. And I did shed a few tears looking at Dave's sad, lonely son and his mother, or the kid's mother, crying. I think it's a good ending. I think it's a fine ending for a mystery. They definitely, stuck the landing solidly. Was it incredible? No, but it's a solid ending.
Yeah, I actually love the scene between Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn on the street before the parade.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic scene. I love the interaction between them, how passive they're being, how like he's like, are you going to send Dave's wife $500 a month now too? Because Kevin Bacon has realized now that Sean Penn also killed his friend Just Ray. So there's like all of this stuff coming together in that like conclusion, and I love how it's shot with them just standing in the middle of the road with Sean Penn like drunk, and Kevin Bacon kind of just like hanging over him. It's a really cool sequence, and I think they could have ended it there, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I
But I mean, the parade
think
scene wasn't bad.
the parade scene isn't bad, but I feel like it's kind of like overstaying its welcome. I feel like you could have got to the point with that scene, and I feel like the ending would have been way more impactful if you had ended it there. But I get it. You got to conclude Kevin Bacon's storyline with his wife, and you got to conclude all of that stuff. But
I thought that was kind of weird too, because I honestly completely forgot she was even a part of it.
Yeah, they're just trying to put more development into his character, obviously.
I know. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it does overstay its welcome a bit. I would have liked it way better if it had ended at that point. But it ties it together. It's okay. It's a pretty average ending, in my opinion. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I also gave it a 3% out of 5. Nothing really about it took it to the next level for me. Yeah. With that being said, let's move into the screenplay and the dialogue. I guess I think that the screenplay is structured very well for a mystery. The structure of a screenplay for a mystery is very important, obviously, because you have to reveal it, the elements of the mystery slowly enough to the audience that they get that little, dopamine hit that they're figuring out more stuff. But you can't reveal too much at once, otherwise everything is spoiled.
Right.
And this film does that, honestly, pretty damn well. They don't, let up on the gas pedal. Even if the scenes are more subtle, like it's just Lawrence Fishburne and Sean talking, little things keep getting revealed. Like when they're talking to the liquor store clerk, okay, the Just Ray's gun is being used. That's you're like, oh, so it might be Brendan because he's his kid. And then, the interrogation, he says he doesn't have the gun. Like, the way that this film progresses the mystery is honestly, it's pretty good. They're giving you enough information that you're kind of able to figure it out. Obviously, Ben Taylor, a little tired out from my week at school. My brain power was not enough to figure it out, but it seems easy enough that someone could do it. So I think it's a pretty well written mystery.
I followed this film very easily when I first watched it in when I was 12, okay. Ben. So okay. 12-year-old Lucas was totally fine watching this film.
You knew it was Silent Ray the instant they re-listened to the phone call. You knew right then, boom, it's his mute brother and a friend that we haven't seen yet on screen. It has to be those two.
No, I knew what was happening. Like I wasn't confused. Like when Brendan started,
when they arrested him.
I realized it when Brendan found the gun holder and the gun wasn't in it. That's when I knew it was his brother.
Right. Okay.
Like that was when I was like, oh, it's his brother, because the gun isn't in, and he obviously thinks the gun is there, but it's not there. So who would have taken it? It's his brother, or it's his mom, but it's not his mom, obviously. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the dialogue is also pretty solid too.
The dialogue is great in this film. Like
Sean
all
Penn's
of the interactions,
husky. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tim Robbins' dialogue I really like too. His character is very, really well written. He's like this shy, puppy dog character with a temper, and I was watching some interviews with him, and he's totally different person in real life. I was like, okay, that's acting. That's why he won the award. Because when I was originally watching this film, I was like, it's a good performance, but it isn't anything like otherworldly. But then I was like listening to him in interviews and stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy is nothing like his character. He's like this enthusiastic, kind of Tom Hanksy vibes of a person. I was like,
he looks like Tom Hanks too, a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's Shawshank Redemption guy, Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's Tim Robbins, and that's a really beautiful performance, and he delivers this dialogue with so much ease, and the dialogue is just it's really good. I love the banter between him and Sean. I like how they wrote the whole like climax into effect. I don't know. It's like, I think it's a solid screenplay. I think it really shows off like some nice writing skills, some great dialogue, some really natural dialogue. I felt like everything felt very natural through this film. Yeah, I give it the 7 out of 8.
Yeah, I gave it a 6%. Uh, yeah, I mean, I just didn't really see enough to elevate it. But I do think it is a very solid screenplay, and the dialogue is well written. Yeah, 6%, very solid. Now let's move into the soundtrack, which is out of 7%. I was pretty underwhelmed with the score here. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I thought the theme song was good, but they don't use music a lot in this film, which it's a good choice, I think. But I I just really didn't think that the score was that impressive at all. Uh,
Yep, I agree. It
is
had
it?
Raging Bull vibes for me. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
one theme song, and you kind of hear it a few times throughout the film. And there's a couple other like white noise soundtracks that are used in the very intense scenes, which
Yeah.
is okay. It adds intensity. It adds this suspense. But overall, the soundtrack, I like the theme. It's nice, but I would have liked a bit more. I would have liked some nice, just some nice piano pieces. I feel like for this film, though, thinking about it in context, I think the film doesn't need a whole lot of soundtrack. It definitely adds to the intensity when it feels a bit more realism.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
yeah, for
need that
sure.
overpowering score. And I think the songs they use in this film, they're pretty nice. The theme song through the credits, I was like, this is a pretty nice song. But yeah, it's like it's a little underwhelming. Isn't a whole lot to it.
Yeah, and I just look at the way we're judging this. I obviously will not listen to this again. They didn't use music really at all, and the one song they did use wasn't even as awesome as the Raging Bull one is. So, yeah, I gave it a 4% for the score. Uh, Honestly, pretty underwhelming. So, yeah, I think that's still technically above a 50% there. So it gets a pass, I guess.
Yeah, I give it a 5. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there is uses of the soundtrack where I felt like that intensity. I felt that rumble in the background. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought the music was fitting for the film, and I think that's where I was grading it from. And also, like, comparing it to Raging Bull, the theme doesn't, like, it's not being used too much. Like, they only use it like 3 times. Where Raging Bull, I was like kind of getting annoyed. I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
Scorsese.
Right.
Yeah. So, production design, costumes and set, out of 6.
I
Set
thought it was pretty
design,
good.
it's pretty good, and I really
Yeah.
like Sean Penn's costumes. I think his costumes
Mm-hmm.
are very
Yeah,
fitting
all
to
the
his characters, very
costumes
gritty.
are pretty
Yeah,
great.
actually, all the costumes are pretty solid.
I mean,
You
even when
get
they're
this really,
kids.
yeah, you get this really small town vibe to all the characters through their costumes, which is cool because they're not really in a small town, but it feels like this small town, and it feels like they're all kind of
So
connected with
it's a
one another.
relatively small town. It's not a
I guess
city.
so. Yeah,
It's
I
in
guess so.
Massachusetts, but it's not Boston.
Yeah,
So I don't know if it's a suburb or if it's I don't know where it is.
but
It's
yeah, you're getting a lot of costumes that are like really, they work with the characters. I like the
hmm
detail in the background. There's a lot of background details that are very focused. Like, I was noticing in the morgue where his daughter is being held. You got like the bombing materials in the background. You got these shelves filled with different like scalpels and stuff. And I just felt like they were like paying attention to the background. They were paying attention to the settings. I like the apartments that they were in. Especially Sean Penn's apartment. It felt very cluttered, but also like weirdly organized in like a Catholic way. um, and
yeah,
it just
yeah,
it all kind of worked with the characters, kind of
yeah.
personas. Yeah,
Yeah. I also, the bars that they go to, really all the locations, just they have nice touches. They do frequently visit like a number of different locations in this film. Uh, Lots of
hmm
houses. That you got the liquor store. the
Yeah.
convenience store. Like, there's just a lot of locations that they had to decorate,
Hmm.
and they're all very solid. Nothing to give it full marks in my eyes, but I gave it a 5%. I mean, I think that this is a very solid category, and they definitely put a good amount of budget towards the set decoration and the production design.
Yeah, I agree. I gave it 5 out of 6. I mean, it's solid. Also, like practical lighting. They had a lot of lamps and like some just nice kind of practical
Yeah,
lighting
yeah, yeah.
touches that really worked for this neo-noir look that they were going for. I like it. Okay, location selection. Or kind of touched on this a bit, but locations are solid in my opinion. I mean, we got quite a few throughout. They're all have some pretty cool lighting, like the bars, the liquor store. Also, like the hospital that's used, that like blue corridor. The kind of cafeteria where they're talking to Sean Penn and Laura Linney, questioning them. The police station, all of that stuff. I think they're pretty solid locations, and there's some
Yeah,
there's some cool angles to them.
I think that the location selection is good, but I mean, to me, there's just really not that many impressive locations because I think what I was expecting is Mystic River. It's called Mystic River. We're gonna have like there's gonna be an epic cool shot of the river, which aside from establishing shots, they choose to do the most intense scene at the river at night, which is I think good for the purpose of the scene, but I mean it's pitch black. So I guess, I was expecting like epic showdown on the river, maybe have it at day so you could see the river.
No,
And
that would nah. Can't have it at
I know
day.
that I knew they couldn't have it at day, but I was expecting a more awesome view of the river, the namesake. And I mean that's not really a big deal at all. It's just pointing it out. And yeah, I think the location selection is solid, but I mean it's a lot of indoor locations, and I don't really think that the exterior locations are anything too impressive to me. I think it's very solid location selection, but I really couldn't tell you one location that was like, something that kind of took it to the next level for me. I didn't see anything that was like a damn, that's a cool location. I was like, okay, that's a solid location throughout.
I really
Uh,
like the forest where they find the body, where the car is sprawled out on the road and it leads into the forest. You got the river overlooking the forest, and then you have that
right.
opening with the like manhole that she's kind of
Is it
buried
like a
under. It's
yeah?
like
I
a
didn't
bear
know what
trap or
that
something.
was. Is it like a yeah? I don't know.
I think that's a cool location. It's well
Mhm.
thought out, especially for the blocking of Sean Penn and how he's trying to get through.
Yeah,
And
is there
also,
like a
I like that subliminal message of like the river is in the background there, and they're like we should maybe look in the river, like all that kind of stuff. I like it.
mhm.
I don't know. I thought the locations were solid. I thought they fit the movie really well. I thought they were all like nice. I didn't feel like this was a movie that called for beautiful locations. It's a very gritty movie. It doesn't really
Yeah.
it wouldn't really fit the tone. So, looking at
I don't
turning
even think it needs to be beautiful, but for most of this film, it's just either in a character's house, like a police station, bar, liquor store. To me, there just wasn't really a good variety. I don't know. I gave it a 4%. Still very solid, but I don't know. To me, nothing stood out to bring it up, really.
Yeah. I gave it 5 out of 6. I think it's solid. Cinematography. Oh no, break. We're taking a break.
Break.
That's what we're
Yeah.
doing. Okay,
Quick break.
quick break. Hop in cinematography. Okay, we're back. Hopping in to cinematography out of 10.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I think I think the cinematography is fine. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but I think it works for the film, and I like
Yeah.
the movement. I
Yeah,
like the
no.
movement in the camera. The camera was like on a dolly or steady cam throughout this entire film. It's constantly moving,
Yeah.
like whipping around characters, zooming in. Like that last interaction between Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn, it's kind of like revolving around them the entire time,
Yeah.
kind of pushing in when they say dialogue. And I like that. I like a good steady cam movement. it's very Christopher Nolan-y vibes where you're
Yeah.
just having the camera constantly moving. And I think it works for this film. It keeps the film feeling very alive, keeps you engaged, and it feels like, stuff is happening constantly. It feels like the intensity is risen. And yeah, I like it. It's a little creative. It isn't, the shots aren't crazy, not much depth of field, but, they move the camera enough for me to be like, yeah, that's pretty creative.
Yeah. I think that, is this my favorite style of cinematography? No. But does it fit the film really well? Yeah. I think that when you're going for like the neo-noir mystery crime film, you gotta have that really harsh lighting, barely being able to, like, having just a character's like eyes basically being visible in all black, that super high gritty contrast type look. Very good. I'm a man who likes some bokeh, but it's excusable.
Let's remember, Ben is a Wes Anderson man. He likes his color and
I like some visual eye candy when I'm watching the film. And
I don't mind me a good noir film. I like those shadows.
I do too. I think it works here. Is it the most like attractive to my eye? No, but I don't think it needs to be at all. This is a gritty, dark film, so cinematography matches it perfectly. But I mean, just looking at the films that we've done on this list, in terms of cinematography, I would, rate this along the ranks of like a Trainspotting, I guess. Feels similar enough to that. I think that it's tough because I think that a lot of the modern films we've been reviewing have just been so goddamn beautiful. So it's kind of unfair for this. But yeah,
that's fair.
Overall, cinematography, it's all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, it works for the film. I think the lighting is very creative, especially using practical lighting. I like the angles. I like how they kind of shoot through things, so you kind of get this like mysterious, you're kind of looking in on all of these scenes, and then they come in close with all the dramatic stuff. And yeah, I like how the camera moves on a steady cam. I feel like it's a bit, it's solid cinematography. It might not be the most visually appealing, but like I gotta give respect to the actual like technical achievement of the cinematography, because that some of those shots they're hard to do, they're hard to pull off, and we know that. They might not be the most attractive, but those are hard shots to do. And yeah, gotta give them credit. I gave it the 8 out of 10 though. I feel like it's it's solid.
Fair enough. I gave it a 7%, high 7. I think I gave, I don't know. It's at this point 26 films in, I don't even remember what I gave most things. I know I gave Parasite a 10, which was super stupid of me.
Dude, you mean you don't have a sheet tracking all of your grades like I do?
No, what I do is on the same note template, I delete it after the review is done.
Oh my god.
So I can use it for the next one.
I have a note template that is 149 pages with a table of contents. I got it all.
Wow. Lucas is committed. I gave it the 7% though. Moving on to
fair.
Editing out of 8%.
Editing out of 8. Now, let's get it out of the way. There's some cross dissolves in this film.
Not only are there cross dissolves, but there's some really whack transitions at the start. I think what this film did is it just like buried its editing reputation in the ground within the first 10 minutes, and then it struggled to like build up my trust again for the rest of the film. Like at the end of every scene, I was like so scared that they were gonna fucking cut to black and then fade up or something, or like, just do something weird. But they held it together after the first like 10 minutes. And there's actually some really good parallel editing. Later on.
Yeah, I was like, first 10 minutes in, I was like, oh shoot, editing is gonna be bad. But then I was like, oh, they're actually doing some really like hardcore editing in this ending like 30 minutes. Like the last 30 minutes it's pretty chaotic, and like to keep track of all those different scenes and storylines and put them together simultaneously, that's a hard thing to do. That's like some Love Actually editing.
Yeah, for sure. I think that this is the same year as Love Actually too. But yeah, I think that unfortunately, the editing in the beginning, I think that this could have been a very high score actually, because the editing in the second half of this film when stuff is getting intense, the editing is just perfectly paced, man. Like some of these scenes are edited really, really well. But just those first like 10 minutes just kind of held it to an average score for me. Also, I think that the kind of desaturated like color grade, it's not really desaturated so much as not colorful, I guess. Which is also cinematography, but I thought I might mention it here too.
I like it. I like this
I like
blue yellow look with like some intense blacks and grays.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like
it fits this film.
It's a
perfectly.
cool look.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I like they were kind of like grading sadder, darker scenes blue, and then the intense scenes black, and then the more just like normal scenes kind of just desaturated gray. Mm-hmm. And I like that choice.
Yeah.
It definitely sets a tone for the film. Yeah, I mean, it could have scored higher, could have scored lower. It kind of just evened itself out for me, and I gave it the 6 because I was like, you had some bad editing at the start, you made up for it, you know. Can't give you higher, but
yeah, that's exactly what I gave it. I gave it a 6%. I was really scared, but they really held it together and actually pulled off some cool editing after what was frankly one of the weirdest editing choices I think I've ever seen. Yeah. Let's move on to acting, which is at a 10%. I mean, this film has some brilliant performances. I think that the big three are notably strong. Tim Robbins, Kevin Bacon, and the one and only Sean Penn give really, really good performances. I think Lawrence Fishburne does what he needs to do, and I was just kind of happy every time he was on screen because it's Lawrence Fishburne. I love Lawrence Fishburne. I think that Tom Guiri, I think his name is, who played Brendan, did what he needed to do. His emotional...
I actually thought
I don't know. His emotional breakdown wasn't as convincing as the really, you know...
I liked the scene where they were telling him she was dead, like when they first interrogated him.
Something about it just felt like not quite as... I don't know. I still thought it was a great performance. I just... With so many central characters, you're bound to have some weaker performances. And I kind of thought Celeste... Okay, wait, what's her name? Marcia Gay Harden, who plays Dave's wife, had some underwhelming moments, especially when Kevin Bacon's following her, trying to get her to talk.
You mean the person who was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for this film?
She was nominated for this? What?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. No way. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nah. She's really great in Miller's Crossing. I'll give her that. I love her in Miller's Crossing. Fantastic.
I thought she was fine in this movie. I mean, she's a little overdramatic at times, but to be fair.
I can't believe she got nominated.
Her kid. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was more bothered with, like, I don't know, the kids. The kids kind of were annoying. Yeah. Also, who?
The Savage brothers, the guys.
Yeah,
who
they're a little
Jimmy's
over the top. They're a little over the top. Yeah, but here's the thing, okay? I'm not gonna mark it down that much because of some kid actors at the start of the movie and some like side characters. Let's just say that Sean Penn is masterful in this film. This is a performance that is truly heartbreaking, and he's such a gray area kind of character. He's definitely done some really bad things in his life. He does an awful thing at the end of this movie, but you just feel so bad for him.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel bad for him. By the end of the film,
by the end.
I mean,
but like when he first is like,
yeah, but I knew that he was gonna. I just predicted he was not gonna handle it well. I mean, even from the moment I saw his kid character, I was like, all right, this guy sucks.
Yeah. Okay. but that's his character, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I still feel bad for him.
I think his
daughter
performance
got
is
killed.
great. I don't think I feel for his character. Like, I feel for his character, but I don't root for him, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But
Like when he's crying on the balcony talking to Dave when like first like right after his daughter's been found.
Dave is the
like,
person who
that
I
just-
really felt bad for in this film.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Like he's such a misunderstood character, and you know he's obviously was sexually abused as a child, like raped, taken away, kidnapped, all of that stuff, and it's really disturbing. But he, you know, Tim Robbins gives a fantastic performance. I was talking about this already. Kevin Bacon is solid. Nothing great from Kevin Bacon, but you know he's
He
pretty
does
good.
what he
He
needs
has
to
some
do.
like. He has some comedic lines that he surprisingly has some pretty great comedic timing.
I'm not a huge
Yeah,
Kevin Bacon
good.
fan.
He hasn't done much except Footloose, but like, I don't know. And yeah, I love Sean Penn. I mean, he's been nominated for like 6 Oscars or something, and he's won 2. And he's one of those top tier actors. He's definitely gonna eventually hit that like 3rd Oscar milestone that very few have. But yeah, just this and his range from this to Milk, it's pretty impressive. I couldn't take it down much. I took it down 1 point, but I give it a 9 out of 10 for acting, and it's a mid 9 for me.
Yeah, I give it a 9% also. It's funny that the film with the most Academy Awards for acting that we've done so far isn't a 10%. Because I don't think we've done anything else with 2 Oscars for acting. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think so. We've done ones that were nominated.
We've definitely done winners, but not 2. But
yeah.
the 9% for me also. I feel like I can't give you a 10% for acting when you have bad child actors.
Yeah, you just can't.
You can't.
If those child actors were like decent, like
Oh yeah, if they were
I feel like
passable.
we could have pushed it to a 10.
But they were
But
noticeably
they weren't.
cringe.
They weren't. Yeah.
Entertainment value.
Entertainment value out of 10. I think this is where we're going to be very different.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. In general on this podcast, I look at things extremely subjectively. I would argue more subjectively than Lucas, because I'm willing to put my bias fully on the line. But I just would feel too bad giving this film a low entertainment value score because I personally didn't really like it, because I totally see that this is probably one of the more entertaining films we've done so far. If you look at it from a general audience's point of view, because I mean, it's a mystery film, man. Like this is like one of the more actiony-ish films on our wheel. You know, we've done some films like I'm Thinking Ending Things that I would personally rewatch before this, but I know that that's not the case for 99% of the population.
Yes, Ben definitely puts his bias out much more than I do.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that.
But I tried to hide it here
statement.
and look at entertainment value from a bit more of a objective point of view. And I think that on paper this film is very entertaining. It just kind of lost me. Mystery is not my favorite genre. And yeah, I don't know. I just really wasn't that into this film. But I think that overall, it's pretty entertaining. Like, I didn't necessarily think I was bored at any point during this film. Just so much not as invested as in other films, we'll say. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say.
But yeah, like, I came home today from my math exam, and I was like, okay, let's watch this thing at, like, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And I was very entertained. I haven't seen this in like 4 years, and I was into it. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's do this, Sean Penn. Let's get at it. And I really actually enjoyed kind of picking up on the background stuff, all the things that I knew already happened, like piecing together Tim Robbins's whole storyline of him killing this pedophile and all that stuff, and also figuring out who the real killers were, me already knowing who they are, like watching them whenever they're in a scene and all that stuff. And I found that entertaining. And honestly, I like a good mystery film. And I really appreciate mystery films that I don't predict, because I tend to like predict mystery films quite easily. Like I watched, I don't know, you seen Knives Out?
I did not see it. My family went to see it in
Yeah.
theaters, and I specifically chose not to.
Okay, fair enough. Knives Out 2019, highly critically acclaimed film. It was on everyone's top 100 films of the year. I kind of hated it because it was extremely predictable in my opinion. I was like, you literally chose the most predictable character in this film to be the killer. Like, really? And I know they were trying to distract me. I know they were trying to like throw stuff at me and be like, "Oh, is it him?" And I was like, "No, it's this guy. It's obviously this guy." But in the back of my head, I was like, "No, it can't be that guy. It's too obvious." And then it was that guy. And I was like, "Really?"
That's the bad kind of fooling. And that kind of happened.
And yet,
that
no
almost
one
happened
seemed
me
to
here.
know that. No one seems to realize. Like, am I just smarter than everyone or something? Because
I
everyone
often think that. I often think that.
Yeah, thank you. All of the reviews I read were like, "Whoa, it's so like it's unpredictable. It got nominated for best original screenplay." And I was like, "What the? No. This film is like one of the most predictable films I've ever watched. I knew everything that was coming." And this film is not that. And this film does it even more, that it's like, we are going to choose the two most unpredictable characters to be the killers.
Me it was kind of bad, I prefer because that. I feel like it just would have hit harder if it was just, oh, is it going to be Brendan or is it going to be Dave? And then it's Brendan and he kills Dave. You don't, like, I feel like you already hit hard enough. I feel
Brendan was too predictable.
No, but
for
think
me.
about
like,
it. Think about it. It's not the fact that it's predictable. It's like, okay, it could be one of the two. The mere fact that he kills the wrong person is already enough of a good ending payoff. You don't have to make him kill the wrong person and also make it the two characters, one of which we have never even seen or know exist up until this point. Like,
we do. You just weren't paying attention.
How are you supposed to know that that's not the mute kid? Like, at the 911 call, like, you don't see this character on screen, do you? I don't think you see him. You do?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know, man.
When they're first interrogating Brendan, they come in and are being all suspicious. See, I noticed this stuff because it was my second time watching.
I gave an 8% for entertainment value because I was trying not to be mean.
He was being nice. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I actually find this film very entertaining, and I enjoyed it upon second watch. You know, I like a good mystery film. What can I say? Overall technical achievement out of 15. Look, it's solid, but it's nothing more than that, and it's nothing uber impressive by any means.
Yeah.
There's no continuity mistakes, there's no weird sound stuff, but it's pretty decent. It's
pretty
like,
mid.
yeah, good job. It's pretty mid.
I think if the cinematography was a bit better, I would have given it the 13, but I decided to give it the 12% because, I don't know, the cinematography being lower kind of made me, is it 12, is it 13? And then honestly, that poorly edited sequence, I was like, okay, I'll give it the 12. Strong 12.
Yeah, I agree. Give it the 12. It's like, for me now, I'm thinking about movies I gave other scores to and then comparing them. Like, I'm like, okay, the one I think about is Big Fish. I gave Big Fish a 13. So then I think on like a technical level, which one's more impressive? And Big Fish is way more impressive on a technical level.
More impressive.
So yeah, 12 out of 15. That concludes our review. Let's take a quick break and then tally up our total percentages and spin the wheel for next week.
Yeah.
Per usual. Okay, we are back, and we have tallied up our final scores. We got the wheel ready to go. Let's finish this up here. Ben, what did you give Mystic River?
I gave Mystic River a 75% overall. Honestly, pretty fitting. I think this is better than Sing Street and About Time, in my opinion, and better than Where the Wild Things Are. That just kind of happened to be technically really impressive. I don't know. Didn't really like this film that much. Was it entertaining watch? Probably wouldn't watch again, but I would recommend it to anyone who's into mystery, to anyone who's into crime movies, that kind of thing. Or if you're just into Oscar winners. You want to see some notable films from there. So yeah.
Great performances. 75%, and I gave it an 82%. Yeah, I mean, I actually like this film quite a bit. It's like, it's pretty, it's up there for my films. I like a good mystery. I like a good crime thriller. I like good performances. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like this film, but I think 82% is fitting. It's like same as Trainspotting. I'm Thinking of Ending Things, similar to Atonement, and I think I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
So what does that average out to?
78.5 is what it averages out to.
78.5, which means that it is 22nd place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, 23rd place. 23rd place.
Yeah, it's above Sing Street.
Right underneath.
And underneath Trainspotting.
Trainspotting.
I think that's pretty fitting.
Let's spin the wheel. Ben and I are really hoping for a lighthearted film, because we've had like 3 depressing films in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. We need a lighthearted
and
film.
We even had Eternal Sunshine before that, which was, it's not the most lighthearted
And we
of
haven't
films.
had a comedy in so long.
Yeah, I need me just something I can sit back and have fun with, I don't even care if it's that good of a movie. Just like something that's
Honestly,
like nice, lighthearted.
Willy's
kinda.
Wonderland is funny. I'd be fine with that.
Give me like Willy's Wonderland. But you just watched that, dude.
It's like an hour and 20 minutes of ridiculous, nonstop. I don't even know if it's a joke or not. It feels too cliche and hilarious to be not a joke.
Well, okay, I got screen recording up, QuickTime Player. Let's record. Turn the volume up. Let's see what we get here. Okay. And we are spinning in 3, 2, 1. Okay. What we getting? Oh! I like it.
Dude, is it lighthearted? It's not Marriage Story. It's
yeah. You know what? It's lighthearted. We have landed on The Wolf of Wall Street.
Hey, okay, that's really nice.
There we go. We got a nice comedy. This is a funny movie.
Yeah,
this is. A funny
I've only
movie.
seen it once.
I think
I've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once, and I watched it a long time ago. But I can say without a doubt that I have never laughed harder while watching. This movie is really long, so
the scenery's on the phone.
When he's on the phone with his lawyer.
Yeah.
I had to pause the movie because I was laughing so hard.
The scene is this film is probably in my top 10 funniest of all times. Number 1 being The Big Lebowski, obviously. I mean, it's a hilarious Scorsese movie. Leonardo DiCaprio's great.
Is this our 3rd Scorsese film already?
Yeah.
I think so.
Third Scorsese
film.
Wildly different.
Yeah, they have. This is a very different Scorsese film, but Silence was very different. Raging Bull was classic Scorsese.
Yeah.
So we're getting a whole spectrum. We got a lot of Scorsese films on the wheel, just so you guys know, because Scorsese is a legend, and we have lots of his films on the wheel and some on the wait list also. But
this week we're putting The Deer Hunter on the wheel. Hope we don't land on that for a while, because
not for a while.
It's long. It's just
long. It's depressing. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Mystic River. Nice to have a thriller thrown in there.
Yeah.
And we are coming with you next week with a nice, funny The Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm excited to rewatch this film.
Same here. Let's see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to Slightly Qualified Film Students.
Make sure to tune in next week for a new film discussion and review.
Our theme song is Slightly Sexy by Thompson Springs.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a like.
Send us feedback and comments as well as your thoughts on the film. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at S_Q_F_S.
If you would like to send us a question or a comment for next week's episode, you can email us at sqfilmstudents@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.